So this morning, I had made plans with Rimya to go to church, and I was really excited about that. Last night, I went to bed pretty late, like 2 o'clock, and before I fell asleep, I was laying on my bed listening to music, and just had to kind of vocalize the desire. This dog just staring me down. I had to vocalize the desire to my own body that I needed to wake up tomorrow, which is today, so that I could go to church and not be late. Really didn't want to be late. Reflects poorly on me, and just not a nice thing to do after making plans to meet someone. But it was early in the morning, so I knew it was going to be a challenge to have my biological clock sync up with my alarm clock. But regardless, this morning I woke up at 6:20, went to the bathroom, and I was just laying in bed, and I was thinking, man, I could just get up right now, because I needed to meet her at 7:30 this morning. And I was just lying there trying to think about how it could possibly be worth it to sleep for an extra 30 minutes or so, when I could just wake up and eat some breakfast, drink some coffee, check some stuff on the internet. And so I ended up doing that, which might be one of the first times in my life I've actually woken up early and then just decided not to go back to sleep. I usually fall back asleep almost involuntarily, but it was the right decision this morning. I was able to get a good start on the day and just not have to get up at like 7:15 and run out the door. And I ended up being really, really early to meet her at the bus stop. And from there, we got on. And it was a pretty long process getting to the actual church. It probably took about, we got on the train at 7:50. It took about an hour to get there. It wasn't really far, but just with all the different transfers and the short waiting times between trains, the time added up. But it wasn't bad. I actually really enjoyed it because we got a lot of time to talk. And I was really interested in going to church, partly because my Aunt Julie had said she wanted me to. And I thought that was an easy wish to indulge, plus a wish that I kind of wanted to myself. And so I wanted to do that. Plus, I've talked with Rimya before, and she's a really interesting person, very devout and strong and just knowledgeable in her faith. And so I knew that she would be a good conversation to have. And I don't know, just the whole coming together of all the events, she had emailed me a couple days previous about to thank me for refunding the money that she had originally spent to go to Kyoto. And we just kind of set up plans to go to church together from there. She is from India, and I've actually learned a lot about India during this semester. I didn't know that they had a state system. So it's not like the United States, really, but I mean, in a way, it is in the fact that it's segregated into small states, and each state is kind of like a small country, and can be likened, I guess, to the differences that exist in the United States from state to state. And we got into a big conversation, probably the big main topic, pretty early on in the morning. I was curious to know how she came to faith, and how she was so strong in her faith, why she was so strong in her faith. Like, if there was a series of events that occurred in a specific and very important order, or if she had just been raised a Christian and sort of just was a enthusiastic, kind of passionate person, someone like my sister, someone who, my sister Lauren came to faith, a strong faith, for a period of maybe a year, and it was because of a very specific sequence of events that happened in her life. But naturally, on top of that, she's a very expressive person, and so if she accepts Christianity, for instance, she really dives in. She had a very powerful, transformative experience that led her to Christ. And then she opened up to someone who was a very strong Christian themselves, and cried and really felt a connection, I guess, with Christ and with God as well, which is to say they're not the same. But so I asked Rimya to kind of describe what had happened in her life, and she told me a very, very long story, basically starting at adolescence, kind of preteen time in her life, and just the various trials and tribulations and feelings and outbursts, not really outbursts, but some moments of rebellion and humility, and the lessons that come with having to give up one's pride. It was a good story. She started talking on the train, and she actually didn't stop talking until we actually got to church. She didn't finish her story either. So we got to the station where the church was close to. Went to a coffee shop just to kill some time, and also because I wanted to try this coffee called Doter, which I've seen everywhere, but I've never actually tried any. And so I got to try that and listen to her. So it was a day of crossing things off the to-do list in Japan. Minor things, but still it was good nonetheless. And just for the record, Doter coffee is awful. Not very good coffee. Could be better. But anyway, so we went to church. It was a pretty good sermon. It was given in Japanese, but there was a translation. And to be honest, I was very, very tired. And I paid attention as well as I could, but my mind wandered and my eyes drooped. Though I did not fall asleep, not at all. Point of interest, there was a man. It was sort of a mixed congregation of Japanese and Western people from, various countries. And there was a man in front of me, white man with his son, who I later learned was from Canada. Or no, Australia. They were from Australia. And the son, he was playing with this piece of red string and just making these really intricate knots and kind of testing their strength. And while I was watching him do this, I was wondering if he was some sort of a child genius who could visualize the tension points of the rope that he was playing with in such a way that he was able to tie knots that would be extremely strong, because he could visualize how they would be pulled, and so he could set up the forces to oppose each other so that he could make knots that were just excessively durable and full of strength. And so I watched him do this, and the boy was actually, Rimya told me he's 12, and it was interesting because he was on the verge of puberty, and looking at him, I just saw this something that I identified with and related with, something I felt shared between us. I remembered being that old, and even being in similar situations, with church and being with my family. And it reminded me also of To Kill a Mockingbird, how you can analyze that novel, not actually taking into account some of the major characters, but taking into account the little girl, I forgot her name, Scout's brother, and his trials as he moves from childhood innocence into manhood and responsibility. And so I just watched this boy and his much older father. It was very apparent that the father had waited a long time before he started having children because he was already balding, and his face was fairly weathered and wrinkly. And he was sort of an awkward man. I think maybe waiting so long to have children might cause that to happen. Maybe. I mean, not necessarily, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe there's a sort of an independence and like an individuality that can overgrow if you spend so much time without children, without family. Because I saw him a couple times make efforts to like kind of love on his son a little bit, draw him in for a hug and give him rubs on the back. And truth be told, I mean, the boy was, again, reaching the point where he's too old to do that, especially in public, without feeling probably some sort of embarrassment from his father. But at the same time, the father didn't make colossal efforts to really, grab his son in like a loving, commanding way. There was a weakness there, like a palpable, visible weakness. And so the sermon was about, it was on Peter, part of a series, Romeo was telling me, but I really don't remember what it was about. Truth be told, I was elsewhere. Which is, again, I think I've already talked about this yesterday. It's just kind of what I do. If the sermon isn't engaging me, I go somewhere else to something that's a little bit more capturing of my attention. And this boy and his father were very, very interesting. Just, it's almost as if I was glimpsing like this big change, like that they were all on the precipice of. He is their oldest son, this boy who I'm speaking about, Remia said. And so he'll be the first one to enter this stage of life. His family, his parents, they'll have him be the first one that ever really transitions from childhood to adulthood. And so I'm sure they must be at least at the very best, nervously excited to see this transition, to see the man that he'll become. And Lord knows I was interested, obviously. Thought about it for 45 minutes or so. And so at the conclusion of the sermon, which I must say did not come too soon, I was asked to give a little introduction about myself as a newcomer to the church. So I stood up, and I was actually kind of looking forward to it when Remia told me that I was going to have to probably introduce myself. I had planned to say a bunch of very poetic and profound things in English, but surprisingly when I stood up I decided in that instant to just speak Japanese instead. So I gave very basic information, said hello, where I was from, what I was doing in Japan, that I thought everything that I had seen this morning was very interesting, and that sadly I was going to be returning to the United States this coming week on the 28th. Which that was fun. I enjoyed that. My feeling about public attention is shifting away from abhorring it to actually enjoying it, as long as it's like a power, the attention that someone who is speaking can command. And I feel like I have benevolent intentions, and so I can wield this power in a way that is good overall. And then that was basically the conclusion of the service.
Give
a couple behind us, they were from America, and some guy noticed my shorts, this man behind me, and he said that he was also a year-round shorts kind of guy, though at the time he was wearing pants, which I must say, I don't look favorably upon that, sir. If you're a year-round pants man, shorts man, I should say, then you got to be wearing shorts. If you want the cred, if you're going to walk around proclaiming yourself to be something, you got to walk the walk, my friend. But truthfully, I didn't really mind. I thought it was funny, and so I met him after the service was over, and his wife, and he had a family, and they said that they've been there for 14 years in Japan. 14 years, and had a pretty long little conversation. They said there's a church in Japan, church in America of Japanese people, which I was pretty shocked to hear about, because to this day, I have not seen, I would say I haven't seen any Japanese people in Atlanta, though I haven't, dreadfully hard. I've hardly looked, I should say. But I gave them my email address, and they said they would contact me, and Remy and I stuck around for a little while. I met a few more people there. It was interesting because in talking to Remya, she said a lot about how she loves being in Japan and everything, and just traveling in general is very rewarding and enriching to her. But the things that are most important to her, such as her Christianity, her faith, and that need for fellowship, and just one-mindedness, is definitely absent at Soka, and that's for sure true. Soka University is almost as much a religious school as it is an academic one, and so she has gotten she's really developed a church family at that church, and a little bit later, after we left, she asked me to reciprocate what my religious feelings were, and I gave the usual spiel, finding the best metaphors by referencing the Tao, but ultimately, I'm not Taoist, so I shudder and sort of cringe even to mention it, because I don't know, it's too much of a tie down to say that you're Taoist. That's just, to say that you're Taoist, by definition, is to not be Taoist. That's like the most fundamental part of Taoism, is that it's sort of the denial. It's the ultimate acknowledgement of spirituality, because it's the ultimate denial that it's something separate from the wholeness of the human experience, I don't know, that's a good way to put it, but ultimately, again, I can't say that I'm a Taoist. That's just that's a contradiction in terms. But, I was sort of sad to have to not jump on her bandwagon, Remya's, with her Christianity, because she was so passionate, and I could tell just based on everything she had said on the train and leading up to the point when she finally had basically given me her testimony. I just felt bad that I had to say, that I thought it was beautiful that she feels that way, and I would never ever say that she was wrong in any respect with any part of what she believes. But ultimately, I just don't have that same connection. And we went into specifics. She asked me, the vagueness and the the amorphous form that Taoism has is really what attracts me. And she asked me if I felt like that was a little bit unrewarding, a little bit hard to, the relationship in Christianity is such a big part of Christianity. And in Taoism, it's the denial of, this entity that you can actually give a name and a face to. And so obviously, it's not really even an applicable question if I feel that I am unfulfilled with my relationship with the Tao, because it's just a different thing. It's fitting a square peg into a circular hole. This is not comparable. but I told her a little bit of that. I didn't want to break her heart, which I don't think I would have, but I just felt, I kept hearing this quote in my head that I remember Richard Dawkins saying, and just thought of another thing. I wish I had a very thick Southern accent, but I still retain my vocabulary. That's a goal. That's a goal of mine. A thick Southern accent, but a magnanimous vocabulary. Anyway, there's this quote by Richard Dawkins that I think he's actually quoting someone else, saying that there's a mean streak in someone who would go out of his way to spoil someone else's faith. And with Rimya, I think that that's true. It would just be so sad to contest anything that she said, because for her it was just so true, and I could feel the truth of it. And I didn't want to say anything against anything she said, regardless whether or not I had similar or differing opinions. I thought everything she said was great. Wouldn't change a bit. But anyway, we got back to Hachioji around 12:15, and actually did a little bit of shopping. She said she wanted to go shopping before she returned, but she didn't know if I wanted to, so she said that we could split up and just say goodbye there. But coincidentally, I wanted to go shopping too, so I did, and we went together. And funny enough, I wasn't really thinking when I was there. I was listening to music and just enjoying. But I realized that I bought food, like the quantity of food I usually would for a regular week. But I'm going back in 5 days, so I'm not really sure how much of that I'll be able to eat before it's time to call it quits, but I'll do my best. There's one thing I have faith in, it's my ability to eat a lot, though if I do that, sort of going against what I'm trying to do with changing my eating habits, so we'll just see. I'm not sure how it'll go yet, but it'll work out for the best. Not worried about it. And then I had spent all my money at the store, unknowingly, unbeknownst to me. I didn't have enough money to get the bus back, which I said I would walk, and really wouldn't have minded a walk. I mean, here I am now doing the exact same walk I would have done earlier. It's definitely no bother. It's a joy. But she insisted that she buy my bus ticket, and so she did, and I'll pay her back tomorrow for that, even though she doesn't want me to. Just because it's the right thing to do, And we finally got back to the dorms a few minutes later after boarding the bus, and said goodbye. Nice little day. It's a shame that she and I didn't get together sooner, make this more of a regular thing. I would not have minded earlier in the semester going to church every Sunday. It would have been a nice way to get the most out of Sunday, It'd be a nice routine. But, what can you do? At this point, there's not much. Maxine might be going by here soon. He said he would meet me at Tokyo Square, a big building close to the train station, but he thought that he might also see me on the way as he biked to Ekimai, where the trains are located. And he may very well, although before I left, I told him, I expressed my doubts. I said I was planning on going a different way. I don't like going through the tunnel anymore. It's just, I don't know, it's such a noisy hassle. I probably will end up going through it today, just because it's faster, which is a shame that it's faster, because I really don't like going through it. It's very boring, but maybe I will just for old time's sake, and old time, I guess, being the last time I walked through it, which would have been yesterday. So, Whatevs. I think I walked through yesterday. If I didn't walk through yesterday, it was goddamn close enough to yesterday for it to make no difference. It reminds me of Christopher Hitchens. Oh Lord, what a birthday present that was. Losing Christopher Hitchens on my birthday. Good Lord. What does that mean? You know? What sort of importance and meaning does that occurrence have? Fuck, jaywalk time. Sumimasen. God damn it. Fucking one of the most annoying things, god damn it, in Japan. Oh, people hesitate here. Hesitation can really fuck you up. You know, you gotta pick a course of action and just stick to it. I was about to run across the street, and you know, I have infinite movability. I have infinite movability. I'm going straight, and there's a biker coming towards me, and so he has like 180 degrees of like freedom of motion, so he can get out of my way, and plus he's going faster, so he can make more evasive maneuvers. But for some reason, he was going straight towards me, and then I tried to get out of his way, and then he started turning towards me to get out of my way. It's just retarded, and now I have to wait at the traffic light. It's not a big deal, but I guess I'm sort of working off the adrenaline of almost, I don't know, not really almost being hit, but oh, whatever. It's dissipating. I can feel the dissipation. And already, though my belly aching could go on, the light has changed, so I can go. And I have 5 minutes to get to Tokyo until Maxime and our little rendezvous passes. Japanese people. Good Lord. About to pass by Vanilla. I don't really think I'm going to go there again. Vanilla. It's just too expensive. I don't really have any strong memories of the place. No real desire. Whatevs. Keep walking. Keep walking like Christopher. I want to tell a funny little quick story. Today, I guess, is the 24th. I'm not really sure. I think it's the 24th. It's Monday. Last real day of school. I have a test a little later today. A presentation of a thesis I want to go to of one of my friends from the Dominican Republic. I'm going to hang out with Ellie after all that is said and done. And currently, I'm walking to Hardhoff to sell my guitar and amp. So, the reality day by day of leaving here is getting more and more real. It's starting to rain. I really fucking hope it doesn't rain while I'm walking, but it's going to, I'm sure, because I have a lot of electronic shit, some of which is trying to fall off my shoulder. Anyway, this funny little thing happened the other day, and I've been meaning to talk about it quickly just to preserve it in podcast memory. I bought some headphones not too long ago from Hardhoff, the same place I'm actually going to right now. And they're really good headphones. I've really been enjoying them. And so I was showing them to some of my dorm mates, because now I walk around with them all the time. So it was obvious that I had a new adornment. And one of my roommates, his name is Yoon from Korea, he wanted to take a look. And so he grabbed them and put them on. And he said something in Japanese, 2 words, which I didn't understand. And so I think Adolf or maybe even Alex translated it. So he said these 2 things. He said, trying on my brand new headphones, he was like, oh, they're going to break soon. They're made of plastic. And then I was kind of a little put off by that, to have brand new headphones and then someone put them on. And like the first thing they say is not a comment like on the audio quality or anything, but about how they're going to break soon. And I was like, I said in English just because I was so put off. I was just like, well, Jesus Christ, you know one day you're going to fucking die too. I mean, everything breaks down. And that was really funny. I crackled up a little bit when it happened. It was just so like, no shit. I mean, even if you bought Bose headphones, eventually they'll break. And it's not a matter of buying something that is indestructible or not. It's a matter of time and the care that you give an object. And I don't know, for me, it's like when Yoon was born, I should have just shown up at the hospital and just been like, Yoon, what's the point, man? Why even try? Why even live? You're gonna die one day. Fuck it. You know. It was funny. And that's it. So now I'm walking the long road to Hardhoff. Oh, I need to go to school after that too. Today will be a pretty busy day, and it hasn't been the best day so far. It's been kind of off and on good. For some fucking stupid reason, my MP3 player erased all of its songs when I plugged it in this morning, and I had to spend like 45 minutes uploading everything again. And that destroyed it, just killed the battery, so now I don't have any battery to listen to anything today. But I'll manage. I have another MP3 player with me in case it dies, and I kind of want to see what happens when the battery dies completely anyway. So, fuck it. Can't help that. It's stupid as hell, but need to move on. And annoying stupid cars. I'm gonna go ahead and go before I get pissed off again. Bye for now.
All alone in this world of mine, not a care for this world of I. Only you keep my eyes open wide. Yes, it's true. I live for you. Not a thing in this world do I own. Only sadness from all that has grown. In this darkness I wait for the day. Yes, it's true. I live for you. Through many years I wait. Through many tears I wait. All this time my thoughts return to you. Give my love, that is all I can do. Wait in line till I put you inside. Yes, it's true. I live for you. for you.
I decided to give Doter another chance. I just successfully sold my guitar to Hard Off for quite a substantial profit. Actually, not a profit, I took it at a loss, but considering what I expected to get, I'm quite pleased. I had already decided on the way, and actually tried to make a clip while I was in Hard Off, but it was just too quiet and kind of awkward. That if I, for some reason, couldn't sell my guitar at Hard Off, that I was just going to leave it in the bathroom and write a note that said that it was really free. Hantoni tada dayo, or something like that. And luckily, I got in, and the process of selling it was very, very easy. I basically just gave it to one of the cashiers up at the front. He did some tests while I looked around for Pokemon games, unsuccessfully, I might add. And then he gave me about 4,000 yen. And so I took it. I got less than half of what I bought it for back, but not really bad, considering, I guess, in a way, since I sold it back like that, it was sort of a rental. Like I rented it for 4 months for, I don't know, $100 or so, and got my deposit back. So I'm happy with that. And I know that there are a lot of people in my life who would have thought it was very stupid of me to even consider leaving it for free for someone. I can already hear the voices chastising me for it, but I don't know, to me, I just feel like, I didn't want to walk back to the dorms with it. From here, I actually need to walk to school so I can sort out something with registration. And I still find a mysterious problem that's on my plate. Something I didn't order, something I didn't ask for yet. For some reason, I have to go and talk to some folks. So, taking a little coffee break right now in Doter. And this coffee that I ordered actually looks quite delicious. Looks very strong and high quality. So I'm glad that I decided to give it another chance after the sort of impotent coffee I had yesterday when I was with Rimya. So from here, I'll probably head out at about 1:30 and walk towards school. I need to buy an umbrella. It's definitely started to rain more than what my threshold for acceptable wetness will allow. So I need to do that. I'm going to stop by Gourmet City and get some figs. I'm looking forward to that. But overall, it's everything's going better than it was in the last clip. Some of that negative energy has dissipated, but you know how it is. Your energy fluctuates daily, and things are looking up now. There is a 7-Eleven on the way back towards Gourmet City, and I'll be able to pop in there and spend some of my earnings on an umbrella, cheap, less than 100 yen or so, plastic umbrella, which I guess I'll use for approximately, I don't know, 1 day, depending if it rains tomorrow. But hey, whatever. Small price to pay to keep my iPad from frying in the water, I suppose. I went ahead, I think, try to take my first sip. It still looks mercilessly hot, this coffee. It's got a very thick head, if you can imagine, sort of a yellowish, brownish, very earthy colored froth at the top of it. Small cup, 250 yen. Not a bad price. Cheaper than Starbucks, but then again, it's been a while since I've gotten a drip coffee from Starbucks, so it might be actually comparable. And the vibe of this place is pretty good, pretty alright. Decent music, lighting's not bad. I'm actually looking at some windows right now, which is nice. I appreciate the fact that there are windows. When I move back to Atlanta soon, somewhere in this next coming month of February, I definitely want to get a place with some windows. My last place in Atlanta for my, I guess that's my junior year of college. I lived in this little small room in a big sort of apartment, not really apartment, more like loft-style house kind of thing. And there were no windows in my room. There were windows that only looked out into the living room. And that was kind of depressing. Since I've gotten to Japan, I've had my windows, the shades have been open every single day that I've been here. I have not spent one moment in my dorm room with my windows obstructed by any cloth. They've been 100% visible. I'm gonna venture to take a sip. I'm gonna wish myself good luck. It still looks hot. Small little sips, like I'm eating udon or something. Japanese noodles, because they're so hot, you kind of slurp them. The Japanese are famous for slurping, and if you slurp your coffee in the same kind of fashion, it actually cools it down. You bring a lot of air in your mouth, and it mixes with the liquid, and just has like a very immediate cooling effect. 105. Things are going well now. I feel comfortable. It's nice to take this little moment to take a chill break. I think tonight I'm gonna have a couple more beers. I've been enjoying that, having a few beers at night to relax and have fun with. I had some last night with Maxime when we walked back from Ekimai. I had a Heineken, which was delicious, reminded me of Fleet Foxes. I had a Budweiser from a different place. And then Maxime and I both had bought this Chai Mei beer from Alps, and so we drank that together while I cooked some food. So, 3 beers kind of spaced out over a couple hours, plus a walk in between and some dinner. It was nice. It's been a nice way to kind of, amplify the relaxation at the dorms. Sort of a, bon voyage to myself. Another sip. Very good coffee. I'm surprised. If I had known it was this tasty, I probably would have stopped here more often, since I've been to Hard Off quite a few times now. Another sip. Delicious. 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 Time is coming to a close. 4 days left. Unbelievable. It's a bittersweet thing, I'm ready to go back, ready to get back to my real life, resume all my relationships with people, but it is sad to think that I won't be seeing these people or having these experiences daily anymore. Definitely going to miss the ofuro, the bath. I've been going to that every night now for the past week and a half or so. Sometimes with Maxime, but regardless, I've been going nightly. It's been great. One of my friends, Mark, he left last night. He went to Taiwan. Here in Japan, the spring break is about to start. I guess February and March, both those months are off here. And so students don't have to go to school until February, March, January, February, March, April. I think this next semester starts like April 1st or so. And so Mark left last night, who's been featured a few times in this podcast, and again, he's the inspiration for me actually buying this recorder. He left for Taiwan last night, and that was semi-sad, because that's the last time I'm going to see him. We were having a good time, but it was sort of bittersweet. He was really interested in my podcast, and so Mark, if you're listening to this now, shout out to you, my friend. He wanted me to hook him up with a few episodes to take with him during the plane ride and everything, because I've interviewed him a few times, and he wanted to kind of hear his own speech and his flow of thought and everything from a more objective standpoint, kind of reviewing what he sounds like and what he talks about, which, I think that's great. Nothing like reviewing yourself like that. It's a unique opportunity if you have that sort of a mean to do that. Because, he's got a couple clips on here on Molt that are over 20 minutes long and stuff, so he can really listen well to himself. That's kind of cool. The button on my pants just broke. The back button that has been holding my wallet for a long time. It's kind of disconcerting, because it's a shame to even think about losing my wallet, let alone have it happen. But I've been wearing these shorts for a long time, so I guess it's okay. Mark last night was also commenting about my voice, and said it's like a radio-ready voice, and he's one of many people now who have said that to me, and the list keeps growing, so I just gotta hope that the right people hear the right voice at the right time, and maybe somehow through, a combination of fortune and timing and all, I can do something that I actually love using my voice. I think that'd be great. Quick sip. This morning I spent a lot of time making a new episode of Molt, and then kind of realizing that I needed to go back through and format all of my earlier episodes and some of my later ones as well, so that they were all more or less the same in terms of the page setup. Because some of them, when I first made the first 6 or so, that was back when I lived in Atlanta, and so they're pretty different in terms of format. The way I set up like the actual physical content that is on the Molt website. So I went back through and made a few adjustments, and I really enjoy doing Molt. And right now I'm still working on episode 30. This is episode 30. And I definitely intend on keeping it going when I get to Atlanta. I think it'll be more varied in Atlanta. I think there'll be more to it, because being here is great, but the percentage of time I spend with English speakers is far outweighed by the time I spend with non-English speakers. So as soon as I get back to America and I'm around people who I know speak English and understand, I think the podcast will become a lot more rich, a lot more, full, which it says a lot because I think it's pretty good already, but I anticipate bigger and better things in the near future. Something I was thinking about on the way to Hardhoff was, since I've been here, since everyone has been here, a lot of people have gained weight, and I'm not really sure why that is or how it's happened. My only real guess is that the amount of sweetbreads and starchy, sugary kind of things in Japan are great, and a lot of people eat them because they're in the ubiquitous what are those things called? Wow, totally blanking. No, vending machine. In the vending machines that encapsulate Japan more or less. It's sort of like that old joke where you're like, hey, what's Japan doing in my vending machine? Or how you're like, what's oh man, I'm trying to think of an example. It's like one of those situations where it's like, why is there so much beer in my ice? Or something like that, one of those kind of things. There's a lot of vending machines in Japan. Sorry, the coffee's starting to kick in, and so the examples are becoming stranger, more abstract. But anyway, so you can buy these cheap, snacks all the time. A lot of people have gained weight, and a few people since Christmas, since winter has started, have told me that I've gained weight, but I don't really think I have. I think when they told me that I did, I think it was just because I was wearing 4 layers of shirts to stay warm, and I think I was looking a little clunky. But since I've had 2 people tell me that I had gained weight, and I was wearing the same shirt both times, and since then I've stripped back down to only wearing 1 thermal shirt plus my regular everyday shirt. So I have lessened my clothes. It's funny because I don't want to get fat, obviously, or really gain weight that is because of overeating or anything, which I don't really think would be easy for me to do, considering the mainstay of my diet is fruits and vegetables and things with very, very little fat. But at the same time, it sort of bothered me that a few people had said that, so I've stripped down, become more slender, in my clothes anyway. So I'm out here walking with my shorts, one layer of thermal between me and the elements. And that's funny. For some reason I have noticed that my appetite is like extremely big here in Japan, but I don't really know why that is. It seems to kind of be the case for everybody. Maybe it's the stress of being here. Not like a conscious kind of stress, but just like the stress, like the kind of, I want to say homeopathic response, but that's not really what I'm going for. There's a word, I can feel it swimming around in my head. If it comes out, I'll let you know, but basically the kind of stress that your body encounters when its equilibrium is shaken up. And so your body starts releasing different, hormones and, chemicals, whatever, to deal with whatever has changed in your environment. And maybe that explains the increase in appetite and increase in weight. Everything our bodies are freaking out. Haven't quite adjusted yet to being in this foreign land. But hey, what can you do? Shogunai, man. Shogunai. 15 minutes. Wow. Well, this clip will conclude episode 30. Take another sip of coffee real quick. Drain the cup. Since I've recorded this clip, and it's as long as it is, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, and this will conclude episode 30, which means that anything I do after this will be bonus points in terms of what my goal was for the podcast here in Japan. And so, omedetou, congratulations. I guess I'm going to go on ahead and get back out into the awful cold, rainy weather and head on to school. Stop by the grocery store, get some little figs, and march towards the end of the day. I want to do something to relax tonight, back at the dorms after all is said and done, and we'll see what form that takes. I'd like to watch something like a movie or a TV show or something in Nito, the second tower. I live in the third tower, but there's a lot of cool people in the second tower. So we'll see what happens.
other's